Welcome to Brewsers, a podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I am your host, Rody John, and today we speak to Troy with Upline Brewing. We talk all about how Upline got started, adding lemon balm to their brews, and so much more. Again, it is dry January, so we got to show some love to the non-alcoholic world, and Upline Brewing is just getting started, but they're doing fantastic things when it comes to beer and non-alcoholic beer. You know, this isn't your Grandpapp's O'Doul's anymore. This is, regular, great tasting beer, and they just have no alcohol in them. So, you can still enjoy life drinking a beer, but don't have to worry about the side effects of alcohol. So make sure to sign up for our newsletter. It comes out twice a week. You get even more information about our guests. You get fun facts, and you get to find out what's happening with your favorite podcast, all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. So without further ado, here is Troy with Upline Brewing. I would like to welcome to the show Troy with Upline Brewing. How are you doing today, sir?
Great, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Now, for those listening, kind of paint us a word picture. Where are you at and what's going on around you?
Sure. So I'm in my home office in Austin, Texas. My dog Duke is in his dog bed next to me. If there's any noise later, then you'll know where that comes from. But yeah, a little bit south of downtown.
Yeah, I'm up in the DFW area, and I have friends that live in Austin, and traffic has just gotten worse and worse over the years, but that's just because you guys have so many people coming in, and, it's not a bad thing. It's just something you have to add a little extra time to any commute you're going into.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, I don't have to go into office, so that helps a lot, but I still have to get places quite often, so something to factor for sure.
Yeah. Now, I know we're about to talk about non-alcoholic beer, but I'm curious, what is your earliest memory of alcohol?
Oh, man. My earliest memory of alcohol was, so I grew up in Buffalo, New York. My earliest, yeah. Big drinking town for sure.
Yep.
But I think my earliest memory of alcohol would be in my friend's backyard. We would have kind of sleep outs and stay in a tent in his backyard, and we would have blue light, Labatt Blue Light, and it was like boiling hot. One of my friends would like take two from his parents' fridge and hide it under his bed for a month, and then we'd share it outside, and it was disgusting, but we didn't know better. We're like, I guess this is what adults like, right? So yeah, I think I was drinking probably like a rancid Labatt Blue Light outside at a sleepover party.
Yeah, you guys being so close to Canada, I imagine Labatt and Molson were a little more prominent than the the Bud or the Coors Lights up there.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that regional, because then when I would travel, I remember leaving Buffalo and going to bars and saying, "Hey, can I have a Blue Light?" And they would look at me like, "What is that?" And to me, it was just like the most popular beer in the world, right? It was like, what do you mean? What is that?
That's hilarious. Yeah, I've gone up to Buffalo, and then my brother lives in outside of Toronto now. And so, yeah, anything up there, you definitely check what, I always check to see what local beers they have. But then, obviously their locals or their standards are, like you said, Labatt, Molson, and I think sometimes Moose Drool, which I think is a hilarious name, but that was definitely something I saw up there.
Yeah, the craft scene, I think, has really exploded up there. I haven't lived there for many years, so I couldn't speak to the specifics, but I think a lot of local breweries have opened up and are doing well there now.
Oh, yeah, I think it's almost everywhere. Like, if you enjoy craft beer, even the most small towns have at least one or two great, or just craft beers in general, then you can find anything on the menu that's fantastic.
Yeah, very true. I think it's not so specific to Buffalo, but yeah, really all even medium to small cities and even small towns.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go forward a little bit. How did Upline Brewing begin?
Yeah, so despite my first memory of alcohol being quite horrendous. I grew to enjoy beer and then cocktails. And after, when I had my first job, my first real job after university, I would go home and pour myself a glass of whiskey because I liked watching Mad Men and that felt cool. And I thought, oh, there's no sugar, low calories, like good for me, right? And so I would do that. And then fast forward a few years later, I was looking for a healthier way to drink and got into natural organic wine, and ultimately actually ended up moving to Napa, California and working for a natural wine company for a couple of years. And so was always interested in food and beverage and bounced around kind of like parallel to that. I worked for another startup that was kind of in the restaurant business and started to, after I left that wine company, explore. I moved to Austin from Napa, and then I really started to explore the NA scene. So started trying non-alcoholic wines, non-alcoholic beers, and I was really impressed. I think that the NA space has come a long way in a short period of time. In the beer realm, I think athletic brewing has really led the charge and shown people that as non-alcoholic beers can taste incredible and really hold up against even their full alcohol counterparts. And so I started having these different non-alcoholic drinks, and I thought, wow, these are great. And then I also started to explore the functional beverage space. So Kin is very popular, Hi-O, these drinks that have some sort of natural supplement. So maybe they have like ashwagandha and 5-HTP, and they can, in a healthier way, recreate some of the positive effects of alcohol without the downsides of that alcohol. And so I was drinking both of those things separately and then thought, well, it would be great to be able to have one of these non-alcoholic beers that still also had the lighter, positive version of these functional beverages. And so I went to Google, as we all do, and I thought, well, this must surely be available, right? I expected 10 different options to pop up, and there was absolutely nothing available in the U.S. And so I just thought, well, that's crazy. Like, how is this not? It just felt like it was like there was peanut butter on one side and jelly on the other, and nobody had put them together yet. And so, given my history in working in the alcohol industry for a while, and just being passionate both about going out and socializing and having drinks, but also the health and wellness space, and those felt very separate. And I'd always been looking for a way to bring those two together, and it just felt like this is like super corny. Feel free to edit this part out, but it really felt like my whole life had kind of led up to that moment. It was just like a very light bulb moment of like everything I had ever done, it all made sense, and I was like, all of my experience can now be funneled into this, and I can really like do something good and positive that I can be proud of and passionate about.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you mentioned it, that the NA category it's come leaps and bounds from, even when I was growing up, if you were drinking non-alcoholic beer, it was O'Doul's, and that was probably it. I think there might be one other one, but for the most part, that was the only non-alcoholic beer. And then I was in the wine world for 14 years as well, and the category for NA wine was 2 SKUs, and for the most part, it was the same company. And that wine, I mean, I think they kind of just even passed it off as like, it's for pregnant women or, this relatives at Thanksgiving or Christmas that don't drink wine, but you have an option for them. But now people are becoming far more conscious, obviously, with their health, not only physically, but mentally as well. And the relationship they're having with alcohol, they're starting to reevaluate that. I mean, even the term sober curious is becoming far more prevalent than I had ever heard in the past 5, 10, 40 years, whatever. Like, that term is becoming far more prevalent because people are reevaluating their relationship and how the alcohol in general affects them mentally, physically, the next day, especially athletes or just people who go to the gym on a regular basis, or people that just want to function like a normal person but enjoy a drink every once in a while. So when it does come to the non-alcoholic world, I love how much that the whole section has gotten so much bigger and there are far more options. Hell, even we're looking now, Heineken has created a huge campaign for their zero. Bud Light has their own. Corona has their own. So we're getting more options when it comes to the non-alcoholic beer world. And then, like you mentioned, Athletic Brewing has absolutely killed it when it comes to non-alcoholic beer. Every single beer that they have tastes like real beer. So, as we are approaching dry January, I like to take a month off just to kind of, clean the body out, feel a little better, not worry so much about, taking on extra carbs or sugars in your body. And so I'll hang out with my friends. On Wednesdays we go to a tap room and we'll hang out, and they have Athletic Brewing. And so I'll have an athletic beer and feel like I'm actually drinking a real beer because it tastes just like a real beer. They have, it's not just 2 SKUs or whatever. If you enjoy a hazy IPA, they got it. If you enjoy a lager, they got it. If you like a regular IPA, they got it. They even have a stout, and I think they're working on a brown ale, and their line is just absolutely fantastic, and I love what they've done. And I love that now you guys are also jumping on board with that and really giving people other options as well.
Yeah, we're the first brand in the U.S. to be bringing together the non-alcoholic beer and functional space into one beverage. So that's something I'm really excited about. Definitely benefiting from all the hard work that Athletic Brewing has done, though, as well. I think they have helped to educate people, including myself, that non-alcoholic beer can be delicious, but it can be just as satisfying as a real beer. So my hat is off to them for that. But I listened to an interview with the founder as part of just my research for building Upline Brewing, and I really felt like I could relate to what he went through despite all of the groundwork they've laid, in that he talked about leaving his job, feeling like the future was so clear, and him creating Athletic Brewing just made all the sense in the world. And he thought this was going to be great. Everyone's going to love this. And he had a map up on his wall of all of the breweries all over the United States he was going to visit and have all of these meetings and build the business, and everybody was going to be excited. And over the course of a few months, he started taking pin by pin out of the board as each brewery responded to him and were like, "We are not interested. Do not contact us again." And that was pretty much my experience. I was so excited, and I would reach out to people. I would reach out to breweries. I would reach out to all these different contacts, and slowly but surely I felt like I was running out of people to reach out to, right? It was like nobody wants to be involved in this. Nobody still in the brewing space. Most people don't really understand non-alcoholic beer, not how to make it, not the legal restrictions that you have to, consider when you're taking a beverage like this to market, and then bringing in the functional aspect. Literally nobody in the U.S. has done this, and so I had nobody to call. And so if I had had my version of that board up, a lot of pins would have come out for sure.
Well, I love that you are actually not only giving options in the non-alcoholic world, but you're giving more to the world of the functionality, like you mentioned, which, brings us to the lemon balm. You guys have a golden ale and an IPA with lemon balm. Explain what the lemon balm is and how it helps people with their functionality.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of research on lemon balm that has proven a lot of different health benefits and mood benefits, which are linked to on our site. But lemon balm, in short, it's a green leafy herb, right? Like, it's not the lemon that you might picture at Whole Foods. So it's a green leafy herb, but consuming it can feel like a lighter, healthier version of alcohol. So studies have shown that it can significantly improve anxiety and depression,